If it's true when people say you are what you eat, we're about to get a glimpse of the inner psyche of Future Canoe. With this level of radioactivity going on in my food, I might just call this episode the Real Manhattan Project. I'm having a pretty busy week, so I'm gonna give the OMAD diet a try. It sounds pretty ideal since I'm too lazy to cook more than once, and supposedly there are other health benefits. And at the end of the week, I'll give you an update on how I feel, and we'll do some voting on the worst dish of the week. The only rule of the video is believing, as you gotta believe in me, man.
I'm high on believing that you're
It's Monday, the day that determines the general vibe of the rest of your week. So let's start it off well with some chicken breast. I always wondered how Kirkland makes their chicken so big and cheap, but an important lesson I've learned is that if I'm offered a good deal, I don't question it. Whenever I freeze them, they take on this purplish green tone to them. It's kind of concerning. This is gonna be a barbecue chicken pizza with ranch. For the chicken part, I'm gonna cut them into thin slices, put the pieces in a bowl and start marinating. We'll start off with the Costco sauce and ketchup and some of your sister's sauce. If I have a choice, every day would be pizza day. All I need to do is put whatever I want on top and just bake it. Usually it's the leftover ingredients from other videos. We pretty much can turn cauliflower into anything. Rice, mashed potatoes, bread, and pizza crust. The only thing that's more manipulated than cauliflower is me in my last relationship. We're also cooking the chicken the same way. I don't want to deal with the cleanup, so I made a little tinfoil tray. I know the color didn't change that much, but it doesn't matter for now, you'll see. Put the pizza crust back in, a layer of ranch, and spread that out. This layer of flavor is a stinky one. This is all we have left of the never-ending raclette. So the first time we got the French one, the second time the Swiss one. It's time to explore beyond the Alpine region. I think you guys are gonna be really surprised where I'm getting my third one. We'll just add another layer of pecorino romano. The amount of cheese might be defeating the health purpose of the cauliflower crust, but that's not the reason I got it in the first place. No gaps in between. Every bite of a pizza needs to have meat in it. Otherwise, you're just eating garlic bread. You might be questioning this dish right now, but give me a little time. Let me show you the final result. I think it's gonna look pretty decent. Doesn't it look much better? Okay, to make it more Italian, if you may, I'm gonna top it off with some chopped basil. It smells really good. I feel like the pizza should come with Italian opera in the background.
Recycle me cool original taste. The sugar 1.5 say ingredients.
Okay, let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10. It's pretty much just cauliflower cheese bread with chicken on it, I guess. 3 types of cheese working together to give it that complex flavor profile. They kind of help to mask that stinky flavor of cauliflower. The chicken's tender and the Costco sauce really comes through. But the basil on top is such a bad decision. The herbaceousness makes it taste so weird. I should have just added more ranch to it. I'm not gonna rate the pizza right now. I'm gonna finish eating this whole meal of the day and I'll rate it in the end. I'm gonna make myself a little dessert. Half a ramekin of chocolate chips. And in the other ramekin, I'm gonna mix some PB2 with water. I prefer the flavor of PB2 because real peanut butter is a little sticky. Microwave the chocolate for 40 seconds so they're nice and melted. Just swirl it around, you don't have to completely mix it. Inconsistency is what's gonna make this dessert. I'm holding air quotes if you can't see me. Good. Then I'm gonna steal some of my roommate's pretzel and dip in the chocolate peanut butter mixture. Super good. Barbecue chicken pizza with chocolate peanut butter pretzel. What a great way to start the week. Our Monday is gonna conclude with an 8 out of 10.
X gon' give it to you. Fuck, wait for you to get it on your
My goal is to spend minimal time on cooking and still get good quality food, but it's difficult to achieve that. One thing that helps is using meal prep. Let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Factor. Factor offers meal plans from a variety of dietary preferences. They range from 4 to 18 meals per week, and you can add more or reduce the number depending on your specific needs. Plus, you can easily skip a week if you need to. Very flexible. They also have a lot of interesting add-ons like protein, juices, veggie-sized desserts. They accommodate those following plant-based or keto diets. As you guys know, besides making cooking videos, I'm currently doing a lot of studying. Some days can get quite busy. Factor can save me a lot of time from decision-induced panics at the grocery store, cooking, and cleaning up. Most importantly, it brings complex meals to keep my diet balanced without overloading my fridge with extra ingredients that I don't know what to do with. So if you're interested to experience the hassle-free eating, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code CANOE50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code CANOE50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. I do want to talk about the taste too. After tasting all of them, my favorite is any of their meal involving chicken breast. It is the most tender chicken breast I've ever had. I don't even know what they do to it. Usually when I cook chicken, it's all like granular and stringy, but their chicken almost tastes like red meat. And the best protein shake they have is the chocolate banana thing. You can mix it into your coffee. Today we're back at it again with our radioactive chicken. I'm feeling extremely creative today. Check out my genius idea for this meal. I'm feeling noodles, but I also want some protein. So I'm gonna take these giant pieces of chicken breast and cut them into really thin strips like this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna boil these chicken strips exactly like noodles and then toss them into a spicy peanut butter sauce. But the peanut butter is gonna be made from the PB2 powder. In the end, we're just gonna end up with the chicken salad. You can slurpity-slurp it up. To tenderize it, we're going to use the Chick-fil-A Secret of MSG and some cooking wine. Give it a thorough mix, cover it, and let it marinate in the fridge for at least 2 hours. And if you're watching this video, chances are I'm not there to watch it with you, but I can already sense your judgment through the screen. Because judging is doubting, doubting is disbelieving, and believing is achieving. So you gotta believe in me, man.
I'm high on believing.
And as a side dish to that, I'm gonna prepare my favorite food of all time, the squash. Anything in the squash family, I'm obsessed with. My favorite is the honey nut squash. It's a new breed of squash created by Dan Barber's team and Cornell Agriculture School. I think honey nut squash is only available in New York State, but every time they become available, I bulk buy cases of it and just put it under my bed. I sleep better knowing they're there, you know? They are the perfect mix of starchiness and fruitiness. Just simple roasting with salt makes it taste like a sweet potato pie. It's pretty insane. So this September, if I find them in the farmer's market, I'll buy a lot and dedicate like a whole month of content to them. You know, I've been hyping up honey nut squash so much, I forgot this episode is sponsored by Factor.
Bit of a rake situation.
A rake situation.
It's Thursday and I found a new obsession. My Korean friend introduced me to these paper-thin sliced pickle radish sheets. It's similar to tortilla wrap, but it's pickled in the wasabi pickling juice. I bought a whole box from H Mart. You know how at Korean barbecue they use these lettuce to wrap meat? Well, I like my meat unwrapped, unless the wrap itself has good flavor. So this solves the discrepancy. We got some marinated meat over here. We're just gonna cook it up by searing it on medium heat. I'm always surprised how non-stick this pan is. I still have the old ones, the institutional gray pan. My roommate calls it the egg killer. The anxiety is just off the roof when I put eggs into those pans. The beef I'm cooking right here is just Costco steak soaked in that Costco sauce overnight. We'll just give it some color and take it out. They're pretty thin, so they should cook really fast. I think they got a little charred. I'm gonna do this over the sink because this container is full of radish pickling water, and when they squirt everywhere, people think I shit my pants. What a balanced meal of meat and vegetables. This is the definition of we have Korean barbecue at home. To accompany these chunks of meat, I'm gonna chase it down with some strange, dark, mysterious, delivered in story format, and a Coke Zero. The game plan is I'm gonna take a huge scoop of this bean paste, spread it on top of the wrapper, and cut a few pieces of the meat to lay on top, and finally wrap it up and eat it just like a taco. It has such complex flavors. The meat is subtly sweet and has a lot of umami, and the bean paste adds a lot of depth and earthy flavors to it, and all of that gets enclosed by this acidic, refreshing wasabi wrapper. The wasabi is not that strong. I can't even taste it. It's super addicting. I highly recommend it. I never really liked Korean barbecue because I prefer my steak come in whole pieces. When people cut it up like that, it's just way less satisfying. Pickling is the only method that will make me consume vegetables, so when you make that into a vegetable wrap, wrap is kind of ideal. Okay, let's clean it up and then we'll get to the desserts today. It's gonna be similar to yesterday, except I'm gonna use a little bit of that honeycomb butter and chocolate chip. Microwave for 30 seconds. Now we have a caramel chocolate pretzel dip. I'm still eating my roommate's pretzel. I'll buy a new bag at the end of the week to replace it. As you can see, I'm holding a massive English cucumber. We're gonna use it in two ways today. First is we're gonna make a tzatziki, and the second usage I'll show you in the bedroom. We talked about this preparation before. We're gonna rub salt all over the skin of the cucumber. It's not only gonna clean it, but also refresh its texture and flavor as well. After rubbing intensely, we'll shred it up. We'll save half to make the other dish. 2 cloves of garlic and squeeze all the water out. Adding about a cup of yogurt. Season with salt, pepper, olive oil, mix it together, and our tzatziki is done. So for the second dish of the day, on paper it might seem like Japanese cuisine, but it's actually part of the cuisine of Facebook moms. I'm gonna make a spicy mayo, but half of it is gonna be Greek yogurt. It's more volume and you're not gonna taste the difference. Now I'll take half of the cucumber and half it, scoop out the seeds and the flesh and set it aside. You probably already know where this is going. And take out 6 ounces of tuna and chop it up into slices, strips, and then little pieces. To season it, we'll use a little bit of soy sauce, and I'll give a second chance to Kewpie mayo. Okay, layering flavor time. On the bottom, we'll put a decent amount of and fill the cucumber halves with this tuna mixture. Why is it looking kind of gray? It looks like boiled pork. We'll even it out a little bit and another drizzle of the spicy mayo. Why have the palate cleanser on the side when you can eat while your palate being cleansed? After this layer of ginger, we'll lay down a couple pieces of the salmon sashimi. These pieces are really thick. It's starting to look pretty good to me. Let me know in the comments if I'm better at making Japanese food or Italian food. If you're Japanese and made it this far, you probably built up enough anger to turn into a Super Saiyan. But I'ma still mix my fake wasabi with the soy sauce, you know. It's way easier to eat it that way. To take my sushi roll to the next level, I'm gonna torch the surface of the salmon so it becomes a torched salmon cucumber roll. The torching is gonna release a little bit of the fat on top, and the Maillard reaction makes it taste better, you know. I wish I had some avocado to put on top too. The final topping is gonna be the unagi sauce. Look at that. How much would you pay for this? It's really good. A lot of different components working together. All overshadowed by that unagi sauce though. This is only the starter. The main course of the day is... We can also use up that leftover spicy mayo. I've never felt satisfied after eating raw fish, so to make myself more comfortable, I have to eat some chicken nuggets. The tzatziki just there to use up the cucumber. But Asian cuisine combined with Greek, which also describes the situation I'm about to encounter in the near future, and I'll explain in a few months. But overall, this Friday night dinner is very interesting and even more delicious. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. Last day of the week, we're gonna end it on another pizza day, but not the authentic Italian one we made earlier. It's gonna be a Chicago deep dish. So starting with a cup of water and a teaspoon of yeast. Whisk it together with a Ligma fork and set it aside for 15 minutes. I got this recipe from Brian. He did a much better job than me in his video, so if you're interested, check it out. Once all the white ingredients are in, I'm gonna eyeball in some butter, take the yeast water in the bowl and go beat it on the couch. The situation got a little sticky on the couch, so I put a little oil in there. The recipe calls for it to be covered and rest in the fridge overnight, so I'll just do covered and rest in room temperature for 30 minutes. The dough is extremely sticky and oily, so we'll just flour the work surface really well and knead it a little bit. And when the dough seems like they can get their shit together, we'll just roll it out into a circle with a rolling pin. You don't have to roll it perfectly here, as long as it's larger than whatever you're gonna cook the deep dish in. We'll just do the rest of the shaping inside the pan. Ideally you want a cake pan or a spring foam, or at least a cast iron. I feel like you can only own a cast iron if you have a wife, so I'm gonna just use my biggest stainless steel saute pan. So carefully layer a sheet onto the pan and slowly push the pizza dough up the sides of the pan. It's fighting back just a tiny bit. If you rest the dough for longer, it's gonna be way easier. Alright, once it's all covered up, we'll start laying our cheese. I want to get a decent cheese pull on this pizza to make it as the thumbnail. So I'll do a bottom layer of monster cheese. And then we'll do a layer of mozzarella, using the whole bag here. And now you can pretty much stuff it with whatever you want. And when I see a pie like that, I have the urge to stuff it with as many sausages as I can. So I'm gonna do some spicy Italian. But before you put it in, you want to remove the casing of the sausage. As I told you before, the professional culinary term of this step is called circumcision. We'll flatten it a little bit and lay it evenly across all the surface. Make sure there's no empty space in between them, because you want the sausage to dominate. A whole quart of pizza sauce, and I'll do another layer of pepperoni. I'm gonna try the Bayashi editing style of meat slapping. The oven's been preheating at 425. Before it goes in, we're gonna top it off with a layer of pecorino romano and some black pepper. This thing feels so heavy. I feel like it's like 10 pounds. Why did parts of the cheese char and some didn't? Alright, let's cut it open and try the centerpiece. I'm just kidding. It's kind of small, but it'll work. Cross section looking pretty fire. Let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10. Okay, it got a little chewy towards the center, so I suspect a thin layer of dough was undercooked. And the top is a little overdone, so next time instead of 425, I'm gonna try 400. Overall, I'm gonna give it a 9.1 out of 10. The flavors of this casserole is very intense. And I gotta add some extra points for my genius idea of making hot honey with chili oil. Let's cut another piece, put it on top, and see how it tastes. Anyways, to sum up the week, I noticed that I'm much more productive on an empty stomach, so the fasting probably helped me think more clearly. But the problem is every time after my meal, I just feel like I got shot in the ass with a tranquilizer. I just immediately pass out. If you know how to fix that, let me know in the comments. In the community section of the channel, I created a poll to try to figure out which one of these meals is the most diabolical. So go give it a vote if you want. Alright, thank you.